안녕하세요, 이근입니다. 저는 지금 토트넘 핫스퍼 트레이닝 센터 앞이고요. 이제 내일 모레 이곳 시간으로 12월 3일에 맨시티와 토트넘의 경기가 열립니다. 그래서 맨시티 원정 경기를 앞두고 토트넘 NG 포스테코글루 감독의 기자회견 현장에 왔습니다. 아무래도 또 지금 토트넘이 3연패에 빠져 있기 때문에 이 경기 어떻게 풀어나갈 것인지, 그리고 또 얼링 홀란이라는 선수를 또 어떻게 막을 것인지 등등에 대한 이야기를 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah, look, I think I guess the biggest sort of emotion you have is for him because and I've only sort of been here 6 months, but even that 6 months, you see how hard they work to get back, particularly him. A lot of it's a fairly lonely journey because you do the rehab on your own and you've got to push yourself. But pretty much from the moment I arrived, I think the first day I bumped into him, he was just that determined to get back, and he had his own timelines in his head. And I think I said, he kept banging on my door about being involved, and kind of held back because obviously with such a significant injury you want to make sure they're ready, and he'd done everything right. Obviously he had a good international break where he got back playing for his country, and like I said, he started the game so well. So with all that context, you're just gutted for him because of the person he is and what he's gone through. But that's unfortunately that's what the challenges football sometimes throws up at you. And he's still such a positive guy. I caught up with him yesterday, and he's just again determined to crack on and get back as quickly as possible. And can't wait to get him back in because you saw his quality. No, not really, because irrespective of kind of what team you got, it's always going to be a challenge playing against City and any team that sort of Pep manages, and you love that, you relish that. That's the kind of arena you want to be in, measuring yourself against the very best. And it'd be great if things were a little bit smoother for us, but it is what it is. And I still think during this period, even last week, there were moments in the game where we played some fantastic football, and that's what we just got to crack on. We just got to get on with it. Ultimately, we can't take our eyes off what we're trying to achieve here, and that for me is always paramount to everything I do, every decision I make. Every sort of time we put a team out there, it's about us, becoming the team we want to become, and through that process, there's going to be some challenges, as there is now, some tough times, and you just got to stay really focused on what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. They're still a decent side. They're a very good football side. Like I said, it's a great test for us, a great test for where we're at as a group, as a team, as a sort of project of trying to become a team that plays the game a certain way. No greater measure than playing against the best, and that's what we'll have. We'll have a strong test, at the Etihad, and we're looking forward to it. I think the players are looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and they're the kind of things that you don't want to shy away from, because they'll give you a great sort of barometer as to where you're at. Not so much just in terms of the result or even the performance, but as much about your mindset of the kind of team you want to be. Yeah, I mean, I haven't thought a lot about it, but fair to say I don't think so. Not in such a sort of high volume for such a sort of short space of time. Over the course of a season, yes, like most managers, you go through sort of spells where you're missing players, but to have this much in such a small space of time is probably the first time I've sort of experienced something like that. And that's what you love about football. No matter how old you are, how long you've been around, there's always something new you got to deal with. And if ever I'm in a situation again where I've got 11 absences, this experience will make me better for it, mate. No, it's not. I mean, that was one aspect I thought we struggled with last week in terms of mainly around set pieces. To be fair, Villa are very good at them, but no, again, we overall, I thought our defending was actually quite good. We were disappointed with the second goal. I thought even more so than the first goal. I thought not just the back four, but defensively we were really passive in that sort of 5-10 minute spell, which we paid a price for. So that was more of a collective thing. So yeah, mate. No, they haven't grown at all. They're all the same height as last week. Tried to feed them some different stuff, but we'll go in with that. Yeah, no, it's always hard to make comparisons because I come from generations where a lot of young strikers were pretty decent when they first started. But he's I guess his movement, his, like I said, his finishing, but more his real sort of focus on scoring goals is quite extraordinary, because you'll see other strikers who are focused on scoring goals, but he has a real strong mindset of being in that position. You see when he misses a chance, I reckon within a millisecond he's moved on, and looking for the next one. And he's, like I said, it's frightening at his age what the amount of goals he could score. But yeah, the key is, I guess, can we as a group sort of handle what attacking threat invariably a team like Man City have, and they come from different avenues, and can we, like I said, minimise the amount of times they get the ball to him, minimise what areas they get the ball to him. But they can hurt you in many ways. Even if Erling doesn't score, they've got plenty of goal threat in there. So for us, it's going to be a great test to kind of try and minimise all those threats, and more importantly, be a threat ourselves. Because otherwise, if we're not a threat ourselves, then you can sort of hold the damn wall for as long as you possibly can, but eventually they'll break through it. I don't think I said he was the best. I think I was missing. I think he's the best ever here, but he'd be close, I reckon, Harry, in terms of Premier League greats. And I think there's a similarity there around their ability to finish and their focus on scoring goals. Really strong, because as we know, scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in our game, right? And finding players who do that on a regular basis is literally finding gold in our game, And why it's so difficult is not so much a technical thing, even a tactical thing. It's really a mindset thing, because as a striker, you're going to miss some chances. No one, even the best strikers in the world, will miss chances, and more often than not, it affects 95% of players who play in that position, whether they like to admit it or not. That elite 5% just don't. They've got a real laser eye focus, and you can see that in Erling. Harry certainly got it, and that's why they're so rare to come along. I think it's just a real, and I experienced that even with working with H here, just for a little bit. You watch him at training, he could put the ball exactly where he wanted to, time after time after time, and it's a rare sort of commodity, and you see it, like I said, with Erling as well, and I'm sure as he gets more experienced, and because you've got to understand that every game that starts, whether you're Harry Kane or Erling Haaland, the opposition are going to try and stop you. You're not hiding in the shadows. It's pretty obvious, and yet they have the strong enough mindset to overcome that. It's not an easy thing to do. Yeah, a little bit. Some of it is still us, I think, understanding. I think there's a couple of times, even last week, where just that millisecond, we could have played the ball a little bit earlier, and his timing was perfect. So it's part of it's just understanding, because obviously Sonny's a different kind of striker than sort of Harry was, who's been here for a very long time. So the players are kind of used to having a focal point is a bit different. So I think it's a combination of both. That's Sonny's sort of timing, but like I said, if we passed the millisecond early, his timing's actually perfect, because how are you going to catch a team, unless it's kind of perfect at both ends. So it's a bit of both, but he's what isn't undeniable is that even from offside positions, he's still finishing things. He's still scoring goals, and that's still, like I was saying before, that's still the hardest part of the game. I mean, I think it was the first one he's broken through. He's beaten Martinez so well on a one-on-one, which wasn't an easy finish. So the quality is there. It's just about, like I said, a little bit of his runs, but also us maybe seeing things just that little bit earlier.